Hello, 180 Online. Thank you for joining us. We are Mark and Sam. We've got Katie. Steven's going to do a pancake tutorial for us, which will be nice, lovely. And we're just going to do a little game, and then we're going to be chatting about something afterwards. So, Mark, two truths, one lie.
So the rules are I do 2 truths and 1 lie, and you need to guess which one the lie is, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Truths. These are my truths. I am 2006's Times Person of the Year.
Okay.
Truth number 2. I have broken this arm and this arm like 3 times. I think it was like 2 and 3 or 3 and 2 a bunch before I was 10. And truth number 3, I used to be a semi-professional inline skater. Well, I guess I still am, maybe, because
Maybe still are. How? Explain to me.
well, I didn't well, no, I wouldn't be near that level.
I'm smelling lies. Let me break this down. So, Times Person 2006 a year. I'm now going to magically make that cover show up right here. So we are all Times Person of the Year from 2006.
Oh, you've heard it. Oh, no.
So that is a truth. The second one is you've broken heaps of bones. Can you explain to me the times that you did that?
All of them were, one time I was behind a sofa. I was a young kid. Sister picked me up by the arm behind the sofa and put me in front of her, and she saw me grab my arm like that, and then she didn't tell my mum and dad, and then
She didn't tell your mum and dad?
And then they noticed I was grabbing my arm, so they thought, oh, maybe something wrong. I think second time, or maybe first time, and again, got pushed down the stairs by my brother Nathan.
It's a good job you're like of age of consent, like you're like over 18, because I'm pretty sure you'd be taken away from your mum and dad if you were actually under 18, because that is pretty horrific.
That's abuse by siblings, though, not really parents. Maybe tack them a while.
Take your siblings away.
Aye, that would be great. Yeah. One of the other time, brother Nathan pushed me down the stairs, and then the rest of the times were like me jumping down stairs, climbing off trees, and jumping off fences, and nothing like that.
And then the last one's semi-professional inline skater.
Yep, I had a competition in Aberdeen. I was 13, and everybody else was 18 and above, and I came second place, and I came first place here in the Broch, and I was
okie dokes. So what do you think is Mark's lie?
It's just gotta be like Dora, like, oh, you think that? Oh, I think that.
Really? Well, I'll tell you what I think right now. You disagree with me? Well, just watch this. It's terrible. I think your lie is a semi-professional inline skater.
It's true.
Is that true?
No, it's true that's a lie.
It's true that's a lie.
You're right. I wasn't.
You wasn't in your dreams.
In my dreams. In primary 7, we had to write caricatures of ourselves as our future careers, and I wrote myself as a professional skater. But then I dislocated my elbow and broke my ankle, and just
whilst doing that,
I was burnt out. That's what I would say. Burnt out.
Okay.
Lost the fire.
Lost the fire for the skating.
Yep.
Okay, what extinguished the fire? Was it your injuries?
Well, I think it was just the
PlayStation.
The skate park was rubbish. That was it. It was just the antisocial behaviour that was going on.
Wow.
Yep. Throwing vegetables off cars and stuff became the news fun.
Horrific.
Yep.
Will I give you mine?
Yes.
3 truths, okay? First one. I crashed my car 3 weeks after getting it. I had this black car and I was driving it in Banff, and I got crashed into by a minibus.
What was the name of the car?
It didn't have a name because I only had it 3 weeks. I hadn't christened it yet. And the next one is, hit a cow with my car in my first year of driving. So my first year of driving, I was driving home to Foggy, and this car was in the road. I just clipped its nose. It was just like sticking it. You know, like how cows can have like heads through fences. Just clipped its nose, and I got home and there was a smear of cow like snot down the side of my car.
I can't mind if I heard, when you said you hit a cow, I thought I mind hearing you say that at some point, but
Really?
the more you expanded upon it, the more I thought, no, maybe I'm marking it up.
Okay, well, I'll give you my next one. I have a horrific fear of heights.
Again, that's true.
I have a horrific fear of heights. Like, I would go up on the balcony at church and just feel a little bit queasy.
Seriously?
Nah.
Next week we're gonna hear you dangling like,
from the balcony.
Going over the banister like that.
I'm not good with heights. Like,
we'll cut. We make Sam spew.
That could be one. We'll just drink heaps of liters of milk until we spew.
Yep.
That sounds like great fun. Okay, so which one's my lie?
I think in the middle one.
Middle one, hit a cow with my car the first week of driving. That's truth.
It is?
No, it's not. It's not truth.
It's truth that's a lie.
It's truth. That's a lie. That's a lie within a lie.
I thought I'd die. I kid the car. You always crash your car, DNA. Or
Well, not always, but I've crashed it a few times.
I think I might did.
Never my fault. Insurance company proven.
Oh, my car almost set on fire when I was.
Which car?
Felina.
What?
The Punto.
Oh, the Punto.
Aye. Yep.
It was my Punto. No, it wasn't the Punto I crashed. The Punto probably lives on somewhere.
Mine ain't got told.
Yeah.
Yep. Scrapped. So we're gonna cut to Catie's kitchen. So over to you, Catie.
So you will need 8 ounces of self-raising flour, 4 ounces of caster sugar, 2 medium eggs, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 ounce of melted butter, and 1/4 to 1/2 pint of whole milk. But don't add it at once, just add a little bit to start with, just like that. And then start mixing until your mixture becomes one and combined. It should look like this. So we're just going to slowly add the rest of the milk, but don't do it while you're mixing because that could end in disaster. It should look like this right here, but we're going to leave it an hour aside so the baking powder can take action. We left our mixture thicken and putting it on a hot plate at medium heat or a frying pan. Once it starts to bubble like this, this is when you want to flip it, just like that. So once you've cooked it on both sides, just ready to eat. In our house, the dog always gets a pancake as well. Dougal, come here. Sit, roll over. Good boy.
Well, thanks, Catie, for that great video of pancake making. You're going to be making some cakes on the pan this week, Mark.
Yep, and I'm going to have a side of Dalgona coffee.
Nice.
As well.
We're just setting you up to be a hipster in your food and drink choices.
And dress.
Dress as well, Shia LaBeouf. Dress code.
The LaBeouf.
So we had a few questions from a few people to get answered. So we'll try and answer them a little bit, maybe have a little bit of fun at the same time. First question is, so we on the first week of Jed Talks, we were speaking about how do we spend our time properly and stuff like that. And I guess we're at a point now where we've been in lockdown for over a month, and I think we can maybe reflect on how we've spent our time this past month. So what do you think about that, Mark? The question is basically, Let me just look at the question here. How do I spend my time well during lockdown? How do I know if I've wasted time?
How do you know if you've wasted time?
Yeah.
Oh man. You'll know if you've wasted time because you'll feel regret at the end of the day, I guess. But I mean, there's kind of like two sides to that. It's like sometimes you just need to rest. Like I think the way I kind of see as Corona, as whole isolation thing, is it's kind of like almost like a massive detox for the whole world. Like I think folk are gotta go back to work refreshed and like that, and maybe like they'll feel like a newness of life. Like folk will appreciate stuff a lot more. They'll appreciate the time and they've got a lot more. But I would also say enjoy lockdown and that. Like try and have a good time. Something I always like to say, and something that stuck with me for ages, is these are the good old days. I mean, I've spoke about it a bunch of times, and I did preach it a while, like ages ago. But I think there's even more weight to that now. Like as someone that's quite sentimental, I always romanticize the past or romanticize the future, but never.
What's the last thing you were sentimental about?
I was sentimental about the Manchester days a few last week. I had this. Actually, no, the day I got this old. I used to do film photography, so like analog film, and I had old pictures of Manchester that I hadn't looked at in ages. So I was getting sentimental about that.
Did you shed a little tear?
No, I didn't.
It's not that sentimental.
No, it wasn't. But it did. It did strike a chord, and it's easy to romanticize the past because when you look back on something, it's always fondly because you never got to mind the responsibilities or the burdens of that time. And when you look to the future, you never got to think about the bad times. You always got to see the good. Well, if you romanticize now, but then you can't be anxious for the future now. But I think that it's to that there's more. I kind of drew from that to start off with is that it's about having a good time, but it's a bit more. There's a lot more weight to it than that.
Mm-hmm.
At my next conference, I can't mind at Rock Nation, somebody said some of the tricks the enemy can use is make you live in a season that you're not in, and so I think I was praying a few weeks ago. It was near the start of quarantine before I had kicked off, and I was praying about the kind of the future, and like I was thinking about the future a lot, and like my prayer life was kind of about what's next, and I kind of sensed God say, "Don't worry about what's next, worry about now. Like be in this season that you're in now. Like you're not in this season that's next, so don't worry about that, but worry now. Pray that right now you'll do this season well rather than the next."
Imagine if like you were living. So for example, and these are big things. For example, exams.
Yeah.
So say for the past 2 years you've been living for your exams. Like I think obviously it's important to do exams, to study, to do well, and like try your best for that. But imagine if you spent your life consumed with exams, and then you get to this point now, and your exams are cancelled. But like think about that in the context of like. I totally get what you're saying. It's like you can be living for tomorrow, but that tomorrow might actually never happen. Jesus spoke about that, didn't he? He says, "Do not worry about tomorrow. There's enough trouble in each day."
Aye.
But I actually saw an Instagram post from a lady in the church, and she'd just been through cancer, and her Instagram post is her sitting, must have been on holiday, like in a restaurant, saying. This was just only like 2 months ago. Crazy where we are now. Make the most of every day you have. It's that thing, isn't it, of like making the most of like every day because you've no idea what's actually going to happen around the corner. Yep. So how would you say that you've lived like that? How would you say that like you've lived? Do you think like since realizing that you've changed the way?
Aye, I think it's helped in a few aspects. Like spiritually it's helped, and in general, just in life, it's helped. Like, I think it's taught me to appreciate moments more. Like, we want to always be doing this, so I'll enjoy it now rather than looking back on it fondly. I am going to look back on it fondly, but I'm going to recognize this moment for all that it is, and I'm going to take it in and enjoy it for all that it is. But then spiritually as well, I'm not going to be consumed with fits coming next or fits behind me, because I'm in this season, and the enemy can throw me off by making me live in another season. So I'm going to live in this moment, take it all in, and be in the moment.
It's a good thing. I can remember when before, like I actually used to live in the next moment. Like I was worked as a janitor before. 22-year-old janitor was just hilarious.
You must have been really popular in school as a janitor.
No, I wasn't, because they thought I had something wrong with me. Because I remember teachers used to be like, "Why is that pupil dressed like a janitor following the janitors?" I'm like, "I am a janitor. Give me a break." Like,
though you did get people like that in school that would be pals with teachers more than
do janitorial work instead of going to class, and they thought that was me, and that I was so involved, that I was so sold into it that I actually bought the uniform. Whoa. But no, that was me. I actually remember a time when I was a janitor, I was mowing the lawn on like a big ride-on mower. I just wasn't concentrating. I was actually trying to get as fast as I possibly could, and there was a drain, and I was driving, and I just went bang into this drain, and the thing like crumbled into the ground. It was just like, oh no. Just like reversed out and just looked around and was like, I'm fine, and just gonna kept driving. But I was always like looking to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. But then within that moment, like, this is a great example actually, because my supervisor was a really nice man at that time. Really nice man, like, and I'd been in the job for about 6 months. And then there was one day I went into work and had a few missed calls from work over the weekend. Sort of strange. So then I got to work on the Monday and someone was there. I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the guy like filled up with tears. I was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, have you not heard?" I was like, "No." He says, "Your boss has died. He took a heart attack over the weekend." Man. And I was like, "What?" Like, that Friday I said goodbye to him, and then that Monday he was gone. And it's that thing of thinking, like, I had 6 months with that man, like a lovely man, had 6 months. Like, I didn't know I had 6 months with him. I thought I was just going to be there, and then I would leave the job, say goodbye to him, and that's it. But like, that time was so important. Yeah. And I do think, like, could I have done more? Could I have said more? But like, I can see how that set me up for where I am now, because then I had, like, because I knew it was my job then I worked at 4 different schools. It was my job to go to each school and tell the teachers that he'd passed away that month. And I think to what I do now, and I'm dealing with funerals occasionally and things, I'm like, you can see how God is setting you up. And I think it's that thing of like making the most of, because you've no idea what could happen, but making the most of every moment. I went through a stage where I was like, I'm not on social media, but it's not because I think it's the devil. I just personally, I just don't like it. Like, I don't feel like when I go in it that I get anything. Like, I don't feel like I've added value to my life after I've gone off it. That's just me personally. But there was a stage where I was on it heaps, and I felt like I had lots of followers, and I got to the stage where like me and Sophie would have been going out somewhere, and I would have thought, oh, it'd be really cool to go there and get a picture, and then I could put it on Instagram. Ooh. And then I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm going there to get a picture to put on Instagram to show people that we're at this place. I'm like, I'm doing this completely wrong.
You're proving to other folk you're having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I heard a really good story about this before, and it was like the 2 girls in the shop in a restaurant, and they're sitting down in their fancy expensive restaurant, and they've paid their money to go to the fancy expensive restaurant so they could take a picture of the fancy expensive restaurant, to then take a selfie at the fancy expensive restaurant, all for the people who are looking at their Instagram feed, so they can see that they're sitting in a fancy expensive restaurant, taking selfies in a fancy expensive restaurant, but then at the end of the day, their food's cold, and they've actually not enjoyed being in the fancy expensive restaurant, because all they've done it for is to get pictures. And I think people almost sometimes have made a career out of that, haven't they? Really,
influencers. It's a word I hate. Like, got such a negative connotation.
Yeah,
to it
yeah.
nowadays.
And it's that thing of like making the most of every time, like being like actually, like for this next few moments, I'm just gonna like. It's like if you're sitting in your living room with your mum and dad, it's like, you know what? I'm actually like gonna take my phone away so I can enjoy this moment just now,
Aye.
because you've no idea when things could change.
There used to be this app called Beam, and it was basically, it was a boot. It kind of had it was social media, but it kind of like encapsulated the heart of what you just said. So it was kind of, you would record something, but you couldn't look at the screen while you were recording it. So the way you would record something is you would cover the front like that. So you'd be at a concert, watching the concert, and you go like that. So it's like you're enjoying the concert at the same time and recording it. So, aye.
That's pretty cool, because there's been concerts I've been at, and like I'm standing behind people and I'm like watching the gig through multiple phone screens, and I'm like, it's so frustrating.
And nobody's going to want to tap through your 20
I know.
20 stories of the same band that,
Exactly.
It doesn't grant any value.
So how do we make the most of our time? I guess for me, I totally agree with what you're saying. It's making the most of every moment you've got. I think Jesus personified that.
Yep.
He made the most of every moment that he had with the people who he was around.
Mm-hmm.